Here's where you can find Zaria's creations on social media. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and then click that notification bell so that you'll be the first to know when there's a new video posted to this channel. And if you like this video, why not give us a thumbs up? Here are some of the supplies that I'll be using for the creation of my Fauxbonichi, Happynichi, Fauxbonichi, Bujonichi cover. I'll be using some half sheets from the Happy Planner, some ring disc, some decorative paper, a paper shredder, not a paper shredder, a paper cutter, some scissors, some stickers from an Etsy shop, and then anything else I'll just tell you guys along the way. This video happened to be so long that I had to break it up in 2 parts. Hopefully no more than 2 parts. So let's get started. Most of this video is going to be sped up, guys, because this video ended up being super long that I had to do it into the 2 parts. So first, I'm just going to cut off that branding that is on the bottom of this beautiful decorative paper. I don't want to mess up my measurements with that marker on there. So we're just going to chop that down. So then I'll be able to measure out my front and back covers. So I'm just taking this booklet that I just made up on my own, and I'm taking the dashboard covers off. I don't want my dashboard to actually be this long, so I'm going to chop it down some. But I'm going to use it as a template to measure out for the length as well as the width. And then I'll be able to chop it down once I get all of that straight. So first, I am just going to trace it out on the wrong side. I'm not really worried about the pencil because I know it's going to be cut off. So I'm just using a pencil here, and I'll trace out the front as well as the back, and then I'll cut it out. Now for the original cut, I am actually going to cut it out to the size that I traced out the front and back cover. I'm going to hold it up to my papers, and then I am going to actually mark them and cut them both together so that I can make sure I cut them evenly. And that looks good right there. Now I just have to see which way is up. So while the laminator is heating up, I am just going to measure out the covers against the half sheets that I have so I can kind of eyeball where I want to cut off or how much more I want to cut off. And so That looks to be about a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to use the paper slicer again to cut that down. And that looks like a perfect size for this notebook. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the rings to the papers, and sometimes this could be a little tricky. Sometimes the rings want to cooperate, and sometimes they just want to fall around over to the wayside and do whatever it is that they want. So I'm just going to start with a few sheets at a time, and then I'll add on as I go, as long as I don't have to fight with these rings here. I think y'all get the point with the rings. You just keep adding your paper however much that you want. I use the classic size rings because I knew I was going to have a lot of stuff that I was going to add to it. And just measuring up my front and back cover, it looks good. Now it's time to laminate the front and the back cover. The laminating sheet that I am using is bigger than an 8 by 11. I got these sheets from a supermarket called Aldi's, and I believe they were only $4 for a whole pack, and I got a lot of sheets in them and only have like a few left. So I'm just going to use that because the front and back cover are a little long, too long for the 8 by 11 sheets. And the first one, as you saw, I pushed all the way to the end of the laminating sheet. And then the second one, I'm going to give it some room because I'm going to split these and I'm going to put holes in each side. So I want to make sure that I have enough room to slice, and I want to still try to make them even. And then I just give it a little press, and then I'll just throw it right through the laminator. Here I am cutting down the sides of the laminating sheets. I use that silver edge, that metal edge on my paper slicer as my guard. It'll allow me to have at least a 1/4 of an inch border to protect and keep my paper covered and keep it sealed in. So I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. And then I'll just slice it down the middle, measuring out the same way, slice it down the middle so that I can have front and back, and then I'll punch holes in them. So here's my Happy Planner punch. It is for the classic planner, and you see I took the bottom off. Reason being, sometimes when you punch through laminate, it will get stuck. It will jam on you. So a lot of people recommend that you don't do it. But I don't feel like doing it with the manual hole puncher and then cutting a slice in it. So I'm actually going to use my Happy Planner punch, and then I will unjam it. So I took the bottom off so that if it gets jammed, I could just use those scissors that you see on the left hand side and unjam it. And you want to make sure that the cover goes all the way to the back edge. You want to fill it at that wall, like it can't go any further. So I'm just taking a sheet of paper here just to make sure that it goes all the way through, and I see that it does. So now that it does, I am going to use my laminate sheet. And you're going to need a lot of elbow grease for this, I promise you. See that marker there? I'm putting the paper, not the laminate sheet. I'm measuring the paper to that line because that will put the punches in the very right place. And so this is a two-arm job. A two-arm job to get this done. And you want to listen for a complete pop. That complete pop lets you know that you actually went all the way through and that your paper is fully punched. And I have to give it a little bit more of a press here. And there we go. It punched all the way through, which means it did not jam. I didn't have to pull on it. I just had to give it a lot of elbow grease. So you can see a couple of those pieces got stuck, but I was able to pull them out with my fingers. And you just want to make sure that it's clear before you do your next punch. The second one was easier than the first, which is good. Then you just have that little bit of cleanup, only because we took the back cover off. And then that's it. Got our covers. And just about everything went clear through. Just wanted to make sure that those little bits are out. Then we could put the cover on our Fauxbonichi, our Happynichi, our Happynichi, our Bujonichi, our Hobonichi, our Nishi. Here a nishi, there a nishi, everywhere a nishi. I'm loving my cover though, guys. I'm glad I picked this one. This is cute. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2.